first sin, the first like Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
We call it the Adamic myth.
Right.
You say that in certain circles, they'll hand you your head.
Right.
Let them try, RJ.
Sometimes-
Let them try.
Be very open about scriptures and Jesus was an interesting individual. He came to bring division. 2 against 3 and 3 against 2. And the whole thing about turning the other cheek,
Yeah.
nothing to do about, just accept, your torture, your,
Yeah.
being beaten. Oh, no. Because you can only strike with the back of your hand in the Roman law, and you strike your right cheek. So you turn it, and you'd have to use your other hand, which was forbidden.
Right.
And you'd be in major trouble if you did that. So he said he was stopping unjust treatment from one to the other.
Right.
What was it? Desmond Tutu, great Anglican bishop in South Africa. One day he's walking on the sidewalk down there in South Africa, in his neighborhoods, and there was this white guy on the plank, the walk, 100 feet before me. He said, "Get off this, walk. I don't make way for any baboons." So Desmond did it, and he said, "But I do."
That was a good one, RJ.
Yeah.
Well, that's from Desmond Tutu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you get credit for
So he stopped that evil. He was
revealing it to us.
Yeah.
In a non-violent way. Mother Teresa, she took a little girl in India. She was starving this little girl to a baker. The baker hated that. He didn't want to give her anything. And
She was untouchable?
Yeah, probably. And Mother Teresa, going in to get some food, bread for her, and the guy spat fully into Mother Teresa's face, like, "Get the hell out of here." And she said, "Thank you for that gift. Now do we have something for this little girl who's hungry?" See, she didn't acquiesce, and she didn't, run away. She stood her ground and said, I'm not going to tolerate that, and you're going to stop that behavior, and you're going to help this little girl.
She absorbed the evil.
So turn the other cheek is the beginning of the sort of passive resistant idea that MLK used.
Oh, and it goes back to Gandhi, and MLK, and Desmond Tutu, Mother Teresa, and others like her. Because we think we have to be really milquetoast kind of individuals as Christians. Oh no, Jesus was never that way. Never that way. He forced you to look at what the evil you were, kind of doing, and to change that way.
What's this 2 against 3 and 3 against 2, Arnelius?
It means when Christ comes into your life, into a family, you got 5 people, their mom, dad, and say 3 kids. He's come to make you reflect and live the Christian way of life, of caring for one another, of loving each other. And if you're not, then the 2 that say maybe will be putting a sword or dividing against the others, just by your way of life. Just by being a Christian can cause a lot of people trouble. I mean, really being, that's why Francis, who really lived the whole concept of poverty, of biblical poverty, New Testament poverty, he threw a wrench in the entire life of Assisi at that time in his own family. He divided by being truly, they were all Catholic, but by being truly called and living that faith deeply, he divided. His brother hated him.
And he made no demands of his family. He simply lived as he chose.
Right, exactly. He was just living like you guys live your life. I live mine, and your mom, my sister.
And it offended them.
Right, exactly. His father immensely.
It challenged them.
Because Francis was the oldest, so he was going to receive the entire business, and Pietro was proud of that, and it didn't happen, and so Pietro's world was totally shattered and changed, and it hurt him deeply. It was a major rift. And his mother wasn't part of that. She loved Francis and what he.
She would sneak him food, wouldn't she?
Yeah, she would. Yes. I mean, he wanted nothing. He wanted his friars to, and he demanded them to live very poor. They had a room, probably not bigger than this room, for 12 men. And they'd write their names in the beams above, and that's where you would stand or you would sleep at night on the floor. Very small confines, and that's what he didn't want to. And then when he goes to the Middle East to convert the Sultan, his other friars there, they begin to build buildings for them to live in. And he heard about that, so he cut his trip short. He was there like a year and a half or so. Cut it short, goes back there, and just takes them to task and starts tearing apart with this one building.
Their comforts.
Right, and he called those men conventuales, those who live in convents. That was the beginning of the group I was with. You see, you have the observants, the Brown Franciscans. Those are the original group that go back to Francis. Okay, they all do, but you know the
Please tell me they weren't known as the brown shirts.
No, they, in England they're called the Grey Friars. Their habit was gray, and brown. I think way back then, you know, under Henry, you know, they kind of disguise themselves so they wouldn't be murdered. And we have a priest relative, Thaddeus Moriarty, Catholic priest, who was murdered for saying mass
In England.
in England.
Really?
In defiance of Henry VIII.
Yep, he was caught saying mass. They took him out, hung him on the spot.
You know, RJ, when you describe all these persecutions and indignities that are visited